Shabbos, everyone. This week's Parsha is that of Matos and Masei, a double Parsha in which we are concluding Sefer Bamidbar, the book of Numbers. In Parshas Matos, the tribes of Gad and Reuven come before Moshe Rabbeinu, and they say that they have been blessed with an enormous amount of cattle, and the land, which is now on the east bank of the Jordan, the Jordan River, the land that God conquered before the congregation of Israel. This is a land which is incredibly suitable for cattle, for grazing. And we therefore ask that we should be given this land, and we will not cross the Jordan with the rest of Klal Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu responds and says, this is exactly what your ancestors did almost 40 years ago, 39 years ago, when I sent them on the reconnaissance mission to Israel. And they came back when we stood on the threshold of entering the Holy Land, and they returned with a very discouraging report, a report that melted the hearts of Klal Yisrael. And rather than enter the land with confidence, Klal Yisrael recoiled. And because of this, God issued a decree that we would wander in this desert for a total of 40 years. And now, here we are, 40 years later. This new generation is on the threshold of entering the land of Israel, and you're saying that you want to have your portion here, not accompany them in the land of Israel? They shall go to war, and you shall stay back? Shall your brethren go to war, and you will reside here? You will be doing exactly what your ancestors did. And they responded, the Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, the tribes of Gad and Reuven responded and said, we accept upon ourselves that we will go forth and we will go before Klal Yisrael. We will lead them. We will be the pioneers, and we will enter the land of Israel for battle. All we ask is that this land be given to us over here. Moshe Rabbeinu responds and says, if you do this thing, if indeed you separate yourselves and you go to war before God, then indeed this land that you request will be yours, and you will be released from your obligation. But you must go and lead Klal Yisrael in battle in the land of Israel before God. And then they respond and they say, indeed, Nachnu na'avor chalutz lifnei Hashem. We will cross the Jordan and we will go as the vanguards before God, and we have our portion here. So we have to understand exactly what was the dialogue. What were the tribes of Gad and Reuven? What were they thinking when they said to Moshe, give us a portion here, we're not going to go into the land of Israel? Didn't they realize that that would be discouraging? Like somebody saying, hey, we have to go to war. Tell you what, you go to war, I'll stay here. I should go and you're going to stay here? What, are you afraid? Then I'll be afraid you're discouraging me. What exactly were they thinking? What was Moshe Rabbeinu's response? And how did they resolve the issue? The Or Chaim tells us a beautiful and very important idea. And that is, they maintained that Klal Yisrael going into the land of Israel, they don't have to fight the war. They said, this land here that we are requesting on the east bank of the Jordan River, this is Ha'aretz Hashehika Hashem Lifnei Adas Yisrael. This is the land that God struck down our enemies before Klal Yisrael. We didn't win the war. It wasn't our cunning. It wasn't our might. It was all God. Therefore, what's the difference if we join Klal Yisrael in the battle in the land of Israel and we stay here? We're not the ones who are victorious. It's God. God will be with them, even if we stay here. That's what they were thinking. Moshe Rabbeinu responded and said, you're making two mistakes. Number one, true, it is God who is our power, our might, the source of our victory. But nevertheless, we must make the effort. And we have to go to war. We have to lift our bows and arrows and our swords. We have to do this. And if you are going to stay here, it will be an act of discouragement to those who have to go to war, despite the fact that indeed it's not our cunning and our sword and our might that brings victory. But the fact is that we have to go and you're not coming. That's number one. Number two, this of which God miraculously defeated Sichon with his armies and Og with his armies, and there were no casualties to Klal Yisrael. That's because all of Klal Yisrael, all 12 tribes, were together, unity, one focus. And Moshe says to them, that one focus has to be that you will lead us in battle. You'll go to war with us, but do so, you go before God. Don't go to war thinking, okay, I'll join with the rest of Klal Yisrael and we'll go to battle. That's not the mindset that brings about the divine victory. What brings about God's divine outstretched hand, giving us the support and the victory, is when we go to battle, or whatever we do it as one unified body before God. That means, yes, I have to go to war. Yes, I have to pick up a sword. Yes, I have to take my bow and arrow. But I'm doing this to sanctify the name of my Creator, for it is His mitzvah, His commandment, that instructs me to do so. When all of Klal Yisrael, all the tribes, have this focus, Moshe says, then we're guaranteed success. But if you're going to stay here, even if the rest of Klal Yisrael is properly focused to sanctify God's name, we're going to be missing the two tribes. We're not whole. We need Klal Yisrael to be whole, one unit. Upon hearing this, the children of Gad and Reuven, the tribes, say to Moshe Rabbeinu, indeed, we will do, Moshe, as you say. Not as we said. We will do as you say. And we will go before God. Not before Klal Yisrael. We will go before God, meaning that what I am doing because it is the will of my Creator. And then they say, Nachnu na'avor chalutzim. We will cross the Jordan as vanguards before God. The word we is very unique. Ordinarily, the word we is anachnu. Va'anachnu koirim u'mishtachevim, we say in Olenu. Va'anachnu, and we bow unto God. Here it doesn't say anachnu, it says nachnu, which also means we, but why is it presented in this unique fashion without the aleph? The Baal HaTurim tells us we find elsewhere in which this word we is presented as nachnu and not anachnu. And that's when Yaakov sent his sons to buy food in Egypt. And they came before the viceroy not knowing that it was Yosef. And Yosef interrogates them, who are you? Where are you from? I see that you've been spreading out, asking lots of questions. Perhaps you're spies. And they say, we're not spies. Because if a person would be sending spies, they would be sending 10 different people from 10 different backgrounds with 10 different perspectives who could pick up 10 different sources of information. But nachnu, but we are b'nei ish echad. We are all the sons of one man. And who would send all of his sons as spies? We're raised in the same household. Whatever one is going to notice, the other will notice. That's not appropriate logic as far as sending spies to gather information. Here they're saying, Nachnu b'nei shechet. We are all the children of one man. We're all brothers. This is what the B'nai Gad and the B'nai Ruvain are saying to Moshe. We accept your criticism. We realize our mistake and our fallacy. Yes, indeed, it is God who provides our victories and success, but it's only when Klal Yisrael is united and together. What unites us? The focus that we are his children and his people who have been given the mission. And this is part of our mission, inheriting the promised land. And we understand that in order for us to achieve this and to be successful, there must be a unity. And the unity is achieved not only in our focus of fulfilling the will of Hashem, but that we are all one family. Nachnu, they said we, just as the sons of Yaakov said we, not just we together, we as one family, we as brothers, we as sisters, we as one mishpacha, one family, one Father in heaven, we as one unit and one entity. This we accept, Moshe, your proposal and your criticism. We realize our mistake, and we are prepared to do exactly as you, Moshe, the prophet of God, has presented. This is not just telling us of an incident of the past, but the Torah is revealing to us the secret of our success throughout the generations and the formula for our success in the future. And that is when we recognize that we are one people, one nation, one family, we're all brothers and sisters, and we have one Father, one King in heaven. And our focus should be to giving nachas, satisfaction, approval, and happiness to our Father in heaven. Therein lies the formula and prescription for the success of Klal Yisrael in every generation. May we be able to stay properly focused, to feel a love and a bond and a familial attachment unto each other. And with this, may we be worthy of seeing revelation of Mashiach. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay Jewish. Have a wonderful Shabbos.